Okay, we're recording.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Liz.
Okay. The following is the agenda for the regular council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, Mayor and Council, and Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on October 12th in the Municipal Building, 25 Lennox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, consistent with New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act. The meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the borough's municipal code and bylaws.
Please stand for reflection. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all requested and paid for same, and published in Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Polidori.
Here.
Councilman Bay.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilman Deline.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney, Mark Semeraro, and our Borough Administrator, Paula Cazarelli.
Thank you. It's always nice to start with the proclamation. I love giving a proclamation to someone who's very involved in the community. Mr. Kent Lloyd has been a councilman for 9 years, 12 years? How many years? 10 years. 10 years.
Right in the middle.
And also ran our basketball program for many years. I'm going to read a proclamation, then I'm going to ask everybody to come up and say a couple words, if that's how we'd like to do that. Okay. Whereas the Pompton Lakes PAL, Police Athletic League basketball program, was formed in 1997. The Pompton Lakes PAL basketball program has served the youth of our community for 25 years and provided more than 1,500 children the opportunity to participate in organized sports. Whereas Lloyd Kent was a board member for the Pompton Lakes PAL program, the promoted fun basketball along with participating in winter and summer programs. Lloyd Kent served as the capacity as a travel team coach, recreation team coach, division supervisor, division of the traveling program, director of the winter program, director of the outdoor summer program, and for the past 15 years as president, administrator, and treasurer for the Pompton Lakes PAL program. The legacy of the PAL basketball program continues with many of the boys and girls who participated in basketball programs in the past are now parents of the next generation of children who participated in the PAL basketball program. Now, therefore, I, Michael Serra, Mayor of the Borough of Pompton Lakes in the County of Passaic, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim fitting and proper that Lloyd Kent's year of meritorious service receive due notice and that the duly proclamation be awarded to Lloyd Kent. In witness, I have caused this in recognition and appreciation for his outstanding public service. So Lloyd, would you please step forward? I'd like to add that, Lloyd has been involved, and his family have been involved in the community. These are the people that make Pompton Lake special. These people who are volunteers and who spend the time and energy in doing what they have to do. All the things I just announced, on top of being a councilman in town for 10 years. So that in itself speaks a lot. So I'll let you say, if you have a couple words, you want to say anything? Or?
Yeah, sure. Love to, thanks. Well, first I want to, you sit here, you go back. I want to thank the mayor and council.
Get rid of it?
I don't know how long I'm going to be. I want to thank the mayor and council and the administration for this honor. I also want to thank everyone out here who's come to join me this evening. I couldn't have done it without my fellow board members on the PAL. It's been tremendous over the years. Tom Shannon, Willie Hunt, Scott Santers, Bill Begg, Bobby Cruz, Rob Renner, Mark Mercado, and that's it. Kenny Black. I also want to recognize Rich Fleischer, who founded the PAL organization 25 years ago, along with Bill Begg, and Jim Kelly, who was the program's first director in the beginning, and Dennis Carroll, who followed him ahead of me. As the mayor mentioned, more than 1,500 children have passed through this program, and it has been amazing to witness recently many of them that are now parents and have children of their own in the program. He's quite old, but it has been quite an experience and quite a journey. Unfortunately and sadly, we are looking to have to close the PL program. But basketball is in good hands because it will be moving in the future, or actually, as of now in the last year, under the PLRYO organization's umbrella. So it's in good hands going forward, but we will be closing PAL. Now, many of you may know that Rich Fletcher was a master at raising money for capital equipment through donations. Don't know where the donations came from, but there was quite a bit of it, quite a lot of it in the early years. And when I took over the reins from Rich upon his passing, there was a sizable amount in the capital account, which we had not spent. So we're looking to donate those funds. I want to make note that those funds did not come from player registrations, they are from capital donations. So, for donations for capital. So the first donation, which we've already made, was to the Board of Education. It was for a shooting machine and a new scores table at the high school, and also for a wireless wall-mounted scoreboard for Lennox School. We're looking to donate to the town the cost for 4 benches down at the courts at Hirschfield Park, as well as court upgrades, basketball court upgrades at Pacifico Gallo and Styles Parks. And then the balance of what's left over will be donated to the PLRYO. So we're looking to get those things accomplished, and hopefully by the end of the year we will. But again, I want to thank everyone for this. It's been an honor to serve the community and our residents for the 25 years. Thank you.
Sure, bring them all up.
PAO, friends,
Picture.
we're all gonna get a big picture.
I gotta stay on most of these people, I don't know if I wanna do that, but all right.
Yeah, family.
Come on, Bobby. Come on, Bill.
Guys, come on, Mr. B. Hold on, Louis.
You got Bill?
Not there yet?
You got Bill?
Yeah.
You got me? I think it's in the register. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Gotta be just a little wait.
Take everybody, guys.
You know, she's here. Hold on. Wait. Come on, ladies.
Come on.
Go. Come on, ladies.
You got a pleasure for you.
That's right. We gotta squeeze it.
I'm doing it, you're doing it.
Step in.
Yeah, but you look.
The girls come on.
Oh, no, you don't want it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys, thank you.
Get in the back.
Paul, you guys have any after our conversation
Bye.
regarding that agreement?
You know what, I just started reading it, Mark, and I didn't.
Okay.
So I will give everybody an opportunity who wants to stay for the meeting to stay. Everybody's leaving, leave.
Mark, put that in there. Send me everything. I'll have everything. But a double check, there's reference, but it's not good.
Enough.
It's not.
Sure.
Fine, it's not.
Okay, here we go. So under, hold on.
Okay.
He was, it was, well, you know, here.
Okay, under some more updates, I do have some updates. The last month's COVID numbers, if anybody's still interested in that, it's 41. Speaking of COVID, I'll mention it in my update, but there will be a clinic here on November 4th, I think, if you're looking for a shot between 3 and 5 at the Carnival Center. So I'll mention that in my report. Okay, can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
Motion.
Council President Polidori, Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone who wants to address, please give your name, your address, try to keep it to around 5 minutes. Please raise your hand. Please step.
Scott Sanders, 226 Garden Road. I just want to compliment you guys and the police department on Garden Road with the football parking on one side of the road. It's awesome. All the neighbors love it. And it was a great thing for our street. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that for a little while, that double-sided parking was an issue, so I'm glad it all worked out, and everybody's happy, and can get the cars moving down there. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Hi, Peter Shazat, 314 Woodlawn Avenue. I'm here in regards to the New Jersey Globe article showing that Mr. Tim Trost, the municipal leader of the Republican Party and a member of the County Board of Elections, was taking down election signs of the opposing party. This is outrageous. He's literally responsible for counting election votes, and he's pulling potentially illegal campaign shenanigans like this. He should resign from the Board of Elections, and I want to give you all the opportunity here and now to condemn his actions and call for his resignation. Just so everyone knows, the Board of Elections is tasked with overseeing a fair and open election process. They're responsible for the recruitment, hiring, training, and placement of all board workers throughout the county. The office also canvasses and counts all mail-in ballots and provisional ballots, and we're supposed to trust this guy not to skew things up? Our democracy relies on public officials to not play favorites. I'm bringing it to your attention so the public can be informed. Republicans don't play fair, and with all the built-in advantages the all-Republican council already has, you still feel it necessary to pull opposition signs out in the cover of darkness. This is shameful, and Mr. Trost needs to resign from the Board of Elections. I understand he's in the audience this evening, and from what I understand, part of his rebuttal may be that it was all a big misunderstanding, but I don't see why the owner of the establishment would go through the trouble of releasing security footage with the intent of it being reported if this is all a simple misunderstanding. Thank you.
Thank you. So, first off, I don't know the story you're talking about, so I can't refer to that. This board and this council has no say over that. We're not aware of all the information that's gone on. Sure, I'll let the attorney.
Okay. We're aware of the fact that we are now in the midst of a political season, but that doesn't allow government and politics to merge. This is a governing body. It's charged with the operation of government. It doesn't oversee what takes place with respect to politics. This body doesn't know what happened with respect to this allegation. An allegation contained in an article certainly could be wrong. We don't know if there's an investigation going on, and it would be inappropriate for the governing body to comment one way or the other. So the reality is I'm instructing the governing body as the borough attorney not to be baited into condemning or condoning any conduct. The reality is the facts are unknown. We don't know under what circumstances, what actions were done. We certainly know what the allegation is. Let the chips fall where they may with respect to that. But it isn't this governing body's position to comment on it. If there is an investigation being done, it would certainly be inappropriate to skew the investigation in any way by maintaining a political position such as was suggested here. So I hope that the governing body heeds my advice, and the reality is if they do heed my advice, there cannot be and should not be any inference drawn about anybody's position with respect to the allegation. because they are not going to be speaking due to the advice of counsel. And that's really all I have to say about that.
And I agree with that. Let's see what happens and move forward with everything that's said. Anyone else from the public would like to address? Please step up.
Tim Trost, 59 Durham Street, as Mr. Shazat implied. It was a misunderstanding. I have text messages from the owner of the business and the property owner. There was miscommunication on their part between the owner of the business and the manager of the business. And in the text message, it's to a third party who I'm not going to name. And it says, Joe, I explained that no other signs would be put up on the property. And then it further goes on to say that there were signs put up. It was his screw up, and he's sorry for the misunderstanding. The full text messages are posted online. I'm glad Mr. Shazat thinks that public officials shouldn't get involved in this kind of shenanigans when it's his party officials, Tony DeNova as a Passaic County Administrator, and Keith Kazmark as a Woodland Park Mayor, who fully knew who was responsible for this. I got a phone call from somebody in their party 5 minutes before these posts hit the internet. And I was told, be prepared, they have pictures of you taking down signs. I just wanted to give you a heads up from somebody who's a friend of mine. The posts go up with these big captions that say, please help identify this man. Every single one of them knew who it was. Their leadership decided to share the posts on their pages. Sheriff Burdnick decided to share the post. Sheriff Burdnick is asking for help to identify me. If he needs help to identify me, it's questionable whether he's qualified to be sheriff. They had a clear shot of my license plate. He should be able to figure out who I was in less than 30 seconds. They've done nothing. They've sent nobody. I have the signs. They're in my backyard. I've not destroyed them. I've not done anything to them. If Mr. Shazat wants them, I'll be happy to return them to him. I have no problem with that. The shenanigans that they're playing, they chose to share these posts to all of our community Facebook pages and social media pages just to raise suspicion, just to have the appearance of an impropriety, to try to try to make me look bad. If they want to play games, they better get up early and pack a big lunch. It's going to be a long day. I've gone through worse, and I'm ready for it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to address? Please step up.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Ave. I'm speaking for Shade Tree. I've been here a few times talking about spotted lanternfly. I had Councilwoman Kent, showed her down in Hirschfield, and the problem is still there and it's growing. I met with Dr. Randy Rowe from Rutgers, and just like you had said, Mayor, try to see what the county and on up through the state is going to do. They're working on it. It's a new insect. I've talked to Downs Tree Service. They are now spraying for it. They have a contract with the town of Union, and the woman had mentioned Glen Ridge, and I talked to Councilman DeLine, and he's going to talk to the forester in his town that he works at and see what's going on. So we're all trying to work together on it. I gave you guys some pictures. On page 20, there's another article, and the cards that I gave you, I got from the county ag extension. So possibly Paula can maybe contact them and maybe see about getting some to hand out to our residents. While I was talking to the woman, she had said that the woman who does the spraying for Downs, she had said that she got a call from Pat Gillespie. Do you know that name? Who? Pat Gillespie.
I don't.
Ernstad Property Incorporated, is that who manages the shopping center here?
First Biddle, yes.
Yes. So Downs already got a call. I want to thank you. You said you were going to contact the management company, and Downs already got a call from them about possibly spraying alongside the gym, which is a heavy infestation. So thank you that possibly could work. I was in
Possibly, I
the
can't
other,
get full credit, it's just possible?
excuse me?
It's just possible, it's not a full credit?
No, I give you, how about total credit?
Total credit, that's much.
How's that? So, but I'm just saying, right now, the more information that I'm gathering is the females could lay 2 or 3 egg clutches, which is 20 to 50 eggs per clutch. And all the work that Councilwoman Kent and Councilwoman Polidari have done to improve our parks, we would hate to see following next spring inundated with bugs. So you'll be getting calls if that happens, and there's quite a few out there. So Shade Tree is trying to stay on top of it, and we'll work with you.
And I think we got it up on the board too.
I didn't see it on the town.
I think
On the town board?
it is, right? Yeah, I think we did.
All
get it
right,
up.
good. That's
It's up there.
that's a positive, because I know the town of Oakland does it
Yeah, it looked
on their
nice,
electronic
actually.
sign. So it's going to be an ongoing effort, especially the next couple of years. So I just want to report on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chairman.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Councilman Cruz, was that Cruz? Yep. Council President Polidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes, September 28th, 2022. Can I have a motion? Motion. Councilwoman Kent?
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? No bills? Let's go to consent agenda. Anybody need anything removed from consent agenda? No, go ahead, Liz.
Whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes does not desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 22-229 through 22-230.
Motion to approve the resolutions.
So moved.
Wow. Councilman Begg, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, under my report. We'll start with what I mentioned before. On the Wayne Pompton Lakes Health Department, remember, we're shared service, will be holding a vaccine day, Friday, 11/4, between 3 and 5 at the Carnival Center. All you need to bring with you is your previous card that identifies what shot you have. You can ask for whatever shot you want, and get the 4th shot if that's something you're looking to do. They will also be supplying flu shots if anybody's looking for flu shots. I also want to thank Kathy Trost and the whole office staff for putting together our CRS program, which, for everybody who knows, we talk about it quite often. There's a lot of work that goes into this packet to go out to make sure we still keep the discounts that we can receive and the levels that we receive. This takes weeks and weeks of time and energy to put together. And I will be honest, the gentleman that oversees this for us has been a little absent on this. So our office staff, with Liz at the head and with Kathy, have really taken it upon themselves to do this. Once this gets through, we'll all be eligible for the 25% discount, is that right? 25% discount on flood insurance that you're paying. You should check your bills to make sure you're getting the discount. They don't like to offer it outright. Sometimes you do have to make a call to the insurance companies and say, where's my 25% discount? Once you get it, it'll follow you from year to year. So we thank them for all the work they've done and everything they've put in together with that. I had a meeting with Meridian and the project that's going on downtown. As you can see, they started doing some removal and some work. As they move forward, they're waiting on a license from the state that has to do with the sewer, but they can move forward with some of the project already. So you will start to see some movement in that property and some building to start. It's going to start with cement and footings and work its way up. They do plan on working through the winter and right through into next year, so there will be no stopping once they start. And that is my report. Council President Polidori.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Lloyd Kent for all of his hard work. Definitely was a well-deserved proclamation. I attended the fire department open house, which was very well put together. They had stations throughout the firehouse for the children to learn about fire safety. There was a smokehouse so they could walk through a demonstration on how to safely evacuate a home should there be a fire, how to call 911. They had some games set up with fire hoses, some snacks. Almost the entire fire department was there. And there was a pretty big turnout from the community with the younger children. So it was educational and fun. And I thank them for all of the hard work that they put into that. I did attend coffee with the council at the 506 Cafe. We had some residents stop in to speak with us, and we had some coffee and some dinner while we were there. So it was nice to have the opportunity to meet some people while we were sitting down in one of our local businesses. I also attended the car show along with some of the other council members on the dais. We were able to give out the awards. Thank you to everyone that comes out for that. We had, the streets were lined with cars, a couple hundred cars as far out as 70 miles people drive in for this. So we ended up having an absolutely beautiful day. It was really fun. And then immediately following that, there was a grand reopening, ribbon cutting at the shop Haircutters. They moved into a larger location. The store is beautiful, so I wish them well. They have been a part of the community for a long time, so we hope to keep them here. As a follow-up from something I mentioned last time, I continue to meet with the Windsor School. Jean Hoffman from the VFW and I met with them yesterday. Jean, on behalf of Columbia Bank, had presented them with a check for supplies to continue maintaining the garden, and I was able to present them with a check for continued help on behalf of the Women's Club, along with some of the daffodils that Councilman Venon sent over so that they could make that a part of that garden as well. The kids are really excited. They've almost removed all of the roots. There will be some posting on social media soon asking if anyone is around in the afternoon. We'll have some dates and times. If you want to go down and lend a hand, bring some flowers, some extra tools, anything you can do to help the kids. This is being done as a teaching garden, so the children will be responsible for maintaining, planting, predominantly perennials, but then they will have the ability to put annuals in so that they actively, year over year, can continue to stay engaged with the project. So we're excited about that. Another exciting project, Dr. Amorosa did reach out to me along with the art department at Lakeside and some of the students attending our special needs program. They did finalize the design and they are due to start painting the sculpture the morning of the 20th with a rain date of the 25th. So before the end of this month, hopefully we will see that completely finished. And I look forward to seeing what they come up with. And then I did have one question as far as some of our practices as we roll into as we're in the last quarter of the year. And I'm going to address my question to our business administrator. I know historically we have never had a practice in place for annual RFQs. So I'm going to ask if possible we implement something that at least annually we can start the process of requesting them to each of the vendors that service the borough. I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that.
I don't know the history of the borough, but I have in the past have executed RFQs. It's just a matter of getting a request for qualifications for our professionals. And it allows us to evaluate professionals based on the services that we desire here in the borough, particularly your usual professionals, your auditor, your attorney, your legal, your planner, your engineer, IT, those kind of professionals. And it doesn't preclude anybody from getting a contract. You can essentially qualify everyone, but it gives you an opportunity to see who's interested in serving the borough and what they're bringing to the table, essentially. So they'll be required to provide a proposal, and I have written RFQs before. So if that is the desire of the council, the mayor and council, I can certainly do those for 2022.
Okay, it's not something we've done historically, and I think the timing of having you with us now through a good part of this year and being comfortable, being onboarded would give you, as well as us, a good opportunity to go through the exercise and for you to familiarize yourself with the vendors that we deal with, plus other vendors that are out there that could potentially be a better fit. My personal opinion on this is that it's just a best practice. It keeps people to task. It gives us the opportunity to make sure that the vendors that we are using are being measured up to their peers as far as industry standards are concerned. So I'm going to ask that we move forward with that. Do I officially need to make a motion?
Well, there'll be some discussion, but the administration, we've talked already about some of the areas that we thought we could do it. I know Councilman Dolan had reached out to me also about this. Let's just remember, the boards themselves, Planning Board, Redevelopment Agency, Zoning, they pick their professionals on their own merit. So that has nothing to do with us. So we're just talking about the boards that we deal with here as a board. I have no issue with it at all. Does anybody have a concern or issue with it?
No, I mean, I'll lend my own perspective, having, being a current public employee, that we do this on an annual basis across the board, and then also my time as a consulting planner. And I think it's a good idea, and Mark knows this just as well as anyone, that, when you do annual appointments, when you're responding to RFQs, one, you're chasing after work, you're staying hungry because the job that you get isn't guaranteed for you next year. So you're working hard for your money, you're trying to make your clients happy, because again, next year you could be out. So I think Paula is the perfect opportunity to usher this next step in. So I think it's a good idea, so.
I've spoken with the administration already about some of the ones that we already planned on doing.
I think we should do it across the board.
We're not asking for some, we're asking for all, across the board.
Yeah,
I don't want to give the impression that we're unhappy with some services.
No, that's
okay with
fine.
others.
I just want everybody to understand, it's just the groups that we deal with here on the board. That's all. Is everybody okay with that?
Fine.
Okay, so we'll start then.
We're in time for this year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, plenty
Oh,
of time.
yeah, absolutely.
That it?
And that is my report.
Okay, thank you. One thing I forgot to mention in my report, maybe Councilman Cruz will mention it, just to remind everybody, our Halloween hunt is the 23rd, Sunday the 23rd, at Hirschfield Park. Any child that has to show up, you'll get a pumpkin, you'll get some treats, you'll get some things. All you need to bring is a flashlight, starting at 6 o'clock down at Hirschfield Park. Councilman Begg.
Thank you. I received the Pompton Lakes Police Department report for the month of September 2022 from Chief Derek Clark. There were 2,703 calls for service for the month of September. There were 587 motor vehicle stops, 390 summonses issued, 4 DWI arrests, 25 MVA investigations, 68 ambulance requests, 19 alarm conditions, burglary, 6 alarm conditions, fire, 2 burglaries, 3 thefts, no sexual assaults, no aggravated assaults, 6 domestic violence investigations. The Detective Bureau investigated 21 complaints, served no subpoenas or warrants. They had 37 background investigations for gun permits, 2 gun permits for carrying, and 15 background checks for the military and police agencies. They received 8 raffle and 1 bingo application. I received the Pompton Lakes Fire Department report from Fire Prevention Chief John Keating. He reports 24 alarms for the month of September and 234 alarms for the year. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report for the month of September 2022 from Chief Mark Soni. There were 97 calls for services for the month of September. There were 52 calls in Pompton Lakes, 22 calls in Riverdale, 20 calls in Wanacue. There were 61 medical emergency calls, 14 trauma calls, no CPR calls, no motor vehicle accident calls, and 3 fire calls. And that's my report.
Thank you. One thing, again, I forgot to mention, on Wednesday evening, October 19th, our Community Emergency Response Team, our CERT, We'll be participating in a borough-wide simulation of a communication outage. So if you see a lot of commotion and noise and people running around, this is just a drill to practice in case something happens in the future, and we're prepared for that. I know we did this a couple years ago, and we got a lot of calls because it was so realistic looking that people thought there was an accident at the high school. So we'll try to get the message out. We'll try to remind everybody that we're doing this, but just keep that in mind. That is on October 19th. We'll be doing that. Councilman Cruz, you have a motion there too.
And thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Motion to approve the request of St. Mary's Church to close one-way road travel lane of Hamburg Turnpike, Greenwood Avenue, and Wanacue Avenue, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Sunday, December 11th, for the procession of the Virgin of Guadalupe. Passaic County Commissioners, Hunterdon and Mark, Agency, Police and Fire Department have been notified. Can I get a motion, please?
You're the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Okay, ma'am. For my report, I attended the Board of Ed meeting last night where Dr. Jane Tanis, who's the Director of Curriculum, Instruction and Testing, this is a yearly report presentation that she discusses how well the students are doing in the district across grade 3 up to 9 and grade 11 in some aspects. It's a very detailed presentation involving the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment in English Language Arts, which are administered to students in the spring of 2022 for students in grades 3 to 9. The New Jersey Student Learning Assessment in Mathematics were administered for students in grade 3 through 9, Algebra 1, or Geometry. Now, this is a very detailed report. I'm just going to highlight a few things about how the kids did in the district in regards to the testing. So the scoring of the NJS, LA, and ELA in math are reported using 5 levels of achievement. A student is considered meeting expectation if they achieve at least a level 4 or with a scale score of 750. So for the first one in English Language Arts, the students outperformed the state scale score in grades 3 through 9. In mathematics, students tied or outperformed the state scale in grades 3, 5, 6, and 7, which includes Algebra 1 in Lakeside and Geometry. In science, the students outperformed the state scale score in grade 11. Now, that in itself is amazing considering the population of students and the type of testing that they go to, but it's a testament to the teachers and just the work they put into that in developing not only the curriculum, but how they deliver that curriculum to the kids. The next item I want to mention is the Class of 2022 graduation report for students who attended the Pompton Lakes High School. Total number of students graduated in 2022 was 184. And just to give you what the numbers the state provides and federal as far as the graduation rate. So the state level rate is 94.8 and the federal level rate is 85.1. At 184, every single student graduated, so we were at 100%, so we exceeded that. So that was just amazing. It's a very interesting report. For those of you that are interested, you can find it on the district website. Next item 4, so Power School, for those of you, I don't know if everybody has Power School, that is being replaced by OnCourse, which is just a new application that's going to be available starting in 2023. This will provide better reporting capabilities and intuitive dashboards, giving parents better visibility into their child's progress. They're in the process right now migrating the information from the old system to the new system, which will be completed by the start of 2023. For my next report, it's going to be for the Recreation Committee. Just a few events I just want to highlight. We have the Family Fall Festival, Sunday, October 23rd from 12 to 4 at Hirschfield Park. Get Fit, which is currently running now, is held on Mondays and Wednesdays at Lincoln Elementary School. Start time is 7 p.m. The mayor did mention the Halloween Hunt, which will be on October 23rd, starting at 7 at Hirschfield, and that is for toddlers to 8th grade. Special Needs Explorer Play is going to be held Saturday, October 22nd at 1 p.m. at St. Mary's Carnival Center. The play is called Main Street. It'd be great if everybody could share that. It's going to be an amazing play. Pickleball is held Monday nights from 5:30 to 7:30 at the tennis courts at Hirschfield. The PL Bid Scarecrow Contest is going to be held Saturday, October 15th at the PL Library. The PLRL basketball registration is open for all kids. Started tonight. Please share that with family and friends. It will go on until the 3rd week of October. And lastly, PLEF wine tasting Sunday, November 6th. That's a little further up, but mark your calendar. That's going to be from 3 to 6 p.m. It's a $45 donation per person, which includes wine tasting and hors d'oeuvres. The event will be hosted by the Pompton Craft House, formerly Beef Trust. To purchase tickets, please contact Kerry Gill or call 914-772-7881, and that'll do it for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you for that report on the school. You know, I've always said we have one of the better school systems around. You know, it's a quiet secret here, and that's why people move into our town. Besides of everything that we're doing up here, the school works with us to make things move forward. I'm happy you mentioned the Explorer play. I'm excited to be being a member in that, and I'm being honored to be acting in that. So please come out and see me make a fool of myself up there. It'd be fun to do. And then lastly, one of the things I forgot to talk about, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it. We did have a power outage on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
I have to thank Jersey Central Power, the contact person I have there. He was very responsive to my calls, and he got back to me right away with information, which I did post on social media. Really, that's the only way to get it out. We put it on our web pages. We did all those things. What I asked the residents, two things I ask for the residents when we have a power outage. One, you should always report the outage of your home to the Jersey site, because the number of houses that populate on their site determines how they come, in what order they come to put the power back on. So it's very important that we do populate that site. The second thing is, remember, do not call 911 when the power's out. You know, we were overwhelmed with calls. And I mean, 10 minutes, 5 minutes after the power went out, we were overwhelmed with calls. They hadn't even gotten any information yet on what had happened. So, you know, I relayed the information to the police. They were able to respond to the calls they got. But let's let the police do what they have to do. Where you really need to report it is to Jersey Central, so we populate the list. The more numbers we get, the quicker they come here and fix. So that's a real important aspect of that. Councilman DeWine.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, on that note, I'd like to thank you for continuing to push out that information throughout the day. Anytime that you receive that call, getting that information out on Facebook, so residents at least understood that some progress was being made, I think was really important. And people appreciate that visibility and transparency. Last week, I attended the coffee with the council. Again, I think it's going to be held monthly in the evenings. I think it's worked a little bit better. So, you know, please come out, join, check out the Cafe 506, great place to eat, great coffee too. Attended the car show on Sunday. It was another beautiful day for a car show, so many amazing classic cars out there, just enjoying walking around, talking to residents and the people that are coming into town. Right after that, I attended the ribbon cutting at the shop. Again, they've been around 12 years. It's hard to believe they've been around that long. And then they've expanded to new facilities, so they continue to improve. I don't get to use them that often.
I'm with you, Eric.
Although last winter I did have like quite the beard going, so I had Louis maintain my beard as much as I could during. But you know, if you do occasionally get your hair cut, just definitely check them out because they're a great business in Pompton Lakes. This past Monday I attended the fire department open house. I want to thank our fire department for, first of all, opening the doors to the public and then being there every day for our residents. I never know what my kids are going to say when I'm like, let's go check this out. And Daniela was honestly excited. She like knew about it. She's like, I didn't think we were going to go. I was like, yeah, we're going to go. And so she was really excited to check out all the vehicles and things like that they had going on. This Monday, right after that, I attended the Shade Tree Commission. We had a number of residents from Hunter Place. I saw a couple come in, but they seem to have left. We had many more on Monday. Fortunately, you know, there wasn't much that the Shade Tree Commission did, but I did encourage them to come tonight. But again, fortunately, we were able to work out a solution with the property owner to address the trees and the fencing. We again reviewed applications and did discuss the spotted lanternfly. Again, I've seen a number on Facebook. You do not need to report the spotted lanternflies to New Jersey DEP. They know it. It's pretty much pervasive through the entire state. More or less, it's again, same thing I said, mentioning the last council meeting is you see them and you can kill them, try and kill them. If you see their egg masses, try and scrape them off. The more that we take care of now is the less we have to deal with in the future. And to Randy's point, it sounds like people are starting to work towards some solutions as well. Just to let everybody know, we do have a planning board next Tuesday at 8 p.m. The matter to be heard are site plan amendments for the Soaring Car Wash on Hamburg Turnpike. CRS, again, it's a continuous effort And Liz, if you don't mind, I'm going to read a little bit of the email that you sent today. So I'm not going to read the whole, actually, you know what? I'm going to read the whole thing. Prior to the submission of the CRS certification, the attached annual progress report must be provided to the governing body. The yearly CRS recertification application will be submitted to ISO on Friday, October 14th for review. CRS is truly a team effort, and together we continue to protect those in the floodway. Thank you to the mayor, council, and administrator for the commitment in funding the river projects and mitigation required to maintain the Class 5. When I resided in my home in the south end of town, I appreciated knowing the town was being proactive in addressing flooding issues. Living in an area that floods is challenging, but all these combined efforts have made a difference. I know participating in the CRS program is additional work for all of us. However, residents do benefit and receive up to a 25% discount on their insurance premiums. And then the last paragraph, I would like to also acknowledge some employees, our OEM, Al Evangelista, Construction, Sal Poli, Department of Public Works, Dan O'Rourke, along with the Flood Advisory Board volunteers for their continued support in achieving required activities. I also appreciate the numerous hours and effort Kathy Trost has provided in assisting the gathering of documents and information and submission of the application, and doesn't mention her work once, but I know how hard you work to get this done. So thank you on behalf of our residents, on behalf of the Mayor Council, to do this on an annual basis. Again, I want to congratulate Lloyd Kent, whose involvement has and continues to be much more than just being a former council person. It was a well-deserved honor for all that he did before PAL and continues to do, whether it's the MUA or anything else he's been involved in. And then finally, I want to wish a happy birthday, one day late, to Council President Polidori, who I think turned 25 yesterday. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you.
Just so you know, your library, right?
Yes, I am.
Michael reached out to me today, that they do have someone to fill the vacant spot. Okay, you guys are I'm gonna stop in at the library if I can Monday. They're gonna discuss it. If you guys are all happy with this person, then we'll put her in and we'll.
Okay, we are continuing to do meetings virtual.
Oh, you are?
So
We're
when I
still
get
doing
the
virtual?
invite, yeah, so when I
could you
get
send
the
it over
invite,
again?
I will send it over.
Good, thank you. Okay, Councilwoman Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention on the RFQs, I do support that, and as long as our administrator has the capability and the time to do it, I know it seemed to be a brand-new thing for us, so I think if we can do it, I support that 100%, and you're on board.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Oh.
I have a format that I use.
Okay, yeah, I think it's a good, this is the time to start. This is exactly the time to start, so thank you, okay. Again, Liz, with the annual progress report, I printed it out, it's a good 5 pages, and it's extremely detailed about, what to do with mitigation, with the flooding, and I do thank you for all that you do as the CRS coordinator. And I also want to thank Dave Kolb of DMK. I received pictures, I believe they were from Al Evangelista, on the number of trees that were removed from the rivers. Was just unbelievable. I had no idea there were that many down. And he evidently completed the task, which is really going to make a big difference if we have a major storm. That water will not be backing up, into the waterways and into the roadways. So it'll go downstream.
And let's remember, we just did that a couple of years ago, so that all built up in just a couple of years.
Yes, and I can't wait until we get the DEP permit so that we can do the snagging and desilting of the debris that's building up. Again, Ron Donkos is in the audience, always does a wonderful job, and he reports back all the time, is on his kayak, just, keeping us alert to that. These are not things we can see from the roadway, so thank you, Ron, for all that you do. I too want to just let you know, my husband Lloyd has been involved with the PAL for many, many years. Rich Fleischer, who is he's just an icon in this town, did an amazing job with the basketball program. He started it, and there were a couple other people came in. I think Lloyd mentioned their names. But when Lloyd took it over, it's because Rich, right before he died, said, "Lloyd, I'm going to give you this program, and you got to promise me you're going to take it." And Lloyd joked and said, "You ain't going anywhere." Well, sometimes we do. And he took that to heart, and he took that promise with him up until, he's going to retire. Lloyd's going to be retiring. That's why this is all ending. And he really, no one can understand how much work it takes to run an athletic program. Because not only do you have to get the kids involved and you have to get the parents involved for the coaches, but you also have referees and you have to have scheduled, times to play in the gyms. And I guarantee that one time it's constantly changing because it constantly snows and the gyms close. And then you're rescheduling the same games. And years and years and years of that, I lived with it. And I said, you get somebody else to do this. He said, no, I'll handle it. And so we're very lucky to have volunteers like my husband, and I have to give him credit on that. And this is what this town is run on. It is run on dedication of volunteers like Lloyd, and we need more. We need more people like this. Mayor and I have talked about this because these are the kind of programs that make this town extremely special. And the children love their sports, and they love basketball, and we've really done a very good job with it. And I give my kudos to the PLRYO and to Bobby Cruz, who accepted the directorship. And it's, and I tell you what, it's going to be.
Because I understand what you're saying, and
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and anybody who coaches understands the work they do. But I want to just mention that. So thank you very much.
Okay.
I also went to the fire department presentation, and I took pictures with Sparky. I thought that guy was really cute, and it was fun, and I love the fire trucks. They're so neat and everything, and everybody was very nice. And they gave out a little packet to the children, and it says, "Fire won't wait. Plan your escape." And I remember this even when I was a kid, that, always know where to go. So I thought these handouts were really, really nice for the kids and the parents. And I want to thank all the firemen for all that they do. And thank you for that evening. I also went out with Commissioner Randy Hinton and P. Altieri, and we squashed, swatted, and smashed spotted flies in pretty much every part of the town. And it is a problem, and Randy, I'm going to promise you we will work on getting this thing resolved for just to save our trees. That they are a mess, and they do destroy the trees, and we did see a lot of evidence of that starting. So the sooner we get to a resolution, the sooner the state and the county come up with something, I will definitely support us, hiring who we need to do it. In the meantime, take your old slippers. Randy brought us beautiful fly swatters, and by the end of the day, they were destroyed because, it takes a lot of effort to smash them. But we had fun doing it, but at the same time, we realized it's going to be an uphill battle, but we will stay on that. I also attended the ribbon cutting for the Da shop, the barber shop, and that is a beautiful shop. If you have an opportunity, try them out. They were very, very nice, and they're they're an icon for the town for business. The car show was provided by the bid was absolutely amazing. The number of cars that came and the number of categories increased this year. And if you increase your categories, you increase your ability to win a trophy. And everybody likes to win a trophy when they bring their pride possession, their car out. I'm a car fan, I've been for years, love a Corvette. So maybe next year they're going to try to even make it bigger. I was talking to Rob Walker. Rob did a beautiful job, and they honored Mark Warren, which was very touching, who was a longtime car show, and he passed away just a couple weeks ago. So I want to thank them for that. Okay, so garbage collection, I just want to remind everybody again, it's once a week. Please check your calendars. Leaves are to be put into the curb in the leaf bags or garbage barrels, and then the bags can be purchased at the town recycling center. And I don't have too much on that. And I just want to thank Paula and our DPW and the PLRYO people there, because they requested that in addition to getting new garbage cans, they are very determined to recycle the cans and the bottles from the people who buy their food from the snack stand. And our DPW was able to give them refurbished garbage cans. So a little bit of recycling on that, which was really nice. And then Paula had the opportunity to purchase, I think, 5 new recycling containers from the Clean Community Grant. And that's another, thing that we work on to get money to buy. And so I want to thank you very much for following up on that pretty quickly. And now we have a nice recycling program with that program. The Environmental Protection Committee and the bid will be finalizing their program on TikTok on about litter in the town. And the bid is going to actually donate $100 in bid bucks to the TikTok movie winner. So I'll have more information on that once that movie, once that whole program is done. We'll discuss it tomorrow night with our chairman, Steve Begg, and that'll be a lot of fun to see where that goes and try to teach the kids to keep litter out of the town. And Mayor, that is my report.
Well, I should mention that, you mentioned that Lloyd, and he does put a lot of time into basketball, but myself and you put a lot of time into another sport.
Okay.
And Lloyd was also part of that, helping us with that
Yeah.
many, many years too.
Yes,
So we ran soccer for a very long time, and Lloyd was also part of that on top of doing everything else. So those are the kind of people, like you said, who make Pompton special.
Very much.
Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo my peers' sentiments. Congratulations to my predecessor on the council, Lloyd Kent, on the work that he's done over the years. Car show had a huge turnout. Thank you to all the folks that were involved in making that happen. And congratulations to Vince Fierro, owner of the shop. Louis is also my guy when I do go there. He does a good job. I do have 2 new things to report on. The trees that we were granted from City Green are ready for pickup. So I sent an email, or we'll be sending an email to Dan and Shade Tree to coordinate the pickup and the planting of the trees. We're getting 10 redbud trees this year. We opted not to do any more daffodil bulbs since we're saturated basically at 10,000 throughout the borough. And lastly, Pompton Reformed Church is holding Autumn Fest this Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday the 15th. And it's a craft fair, and it's a good time. And that is my report, Mayor.
Yes, the craft fair is always fun, and if it's a nice day, it's always better. Professional reports, any report?
Nothing to report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Minister's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been working with the chief and captain, Chief Clark and Captain Shashan, with regard to the automated license plate recognition technology grant that the state is having with use of more American relief money. So what that is, honestly, I didn't even know what it was. Essentially, this reader is able to read someone's license plate, and that data goes right to the prosecutor's office in the state. So our police department knows if somebody is in our town that has done something very bad. So they can be pulled over. I was also talking to the detective in Passaic County Prosecutor's Office. Passaic County has invested in 100. So what we are getting is car-mounted readers.
Yeah.
They're getting stationary readers mounted on the poles, so that I'm hoping that they will be at the entry points of of each town in Passaic County, so that we will also be able to see where these cars are entering and exiting and where they're at, and then also using this technology to really pinpoint, folks that shouldn't be, folks that probably should be arrested. So, I mean, this is really incredible technology, seriously protecting our safety. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And they can take a picture of it. They'll take a picture of it. So they'll see where the car is, what the license plate, what they did to break the law. And, interestingly, as I'm putting this grant together, we have 32 miles of roadway that exit through the Patterson-Hamburg Turnpike and then Route 287. So folks are coming through our town and can try to get away on these major highways. So this technology works in conjunction with the state and the county. So this is exciting. I'm hoping that, we achieve the money. I mean, we're asking for 5 years of the cost of these cameras and the maintenance, which is $101,000, plus the police salaries that have to manage it.
And just to add to that, just so the public understands, this is not about, going through a red light or things like that. This is about people who have a subpoena out on them or a warrant out on them, and that's what they're catching. We're not back to the, going through a red light camera kind of deal either, so I don't want people to panic that that's what's going on.
No, this is specifically targeting people with a record.
And believe it or not, you do get a lot of people out of the north that come into this area. Yeah.
So it's just, we just wanna keep the town safe regardless of where these folks are coming from. It's just a matter of, the technology is just incredible and there's money there to support it. So hopefully, we are successful. The best practices has been released, so I'll be giving that out for your approval probably in November. For those that don't know what the best practices is, the state of New Jersey requires municipalities to comply to core competencies and then best practices in terms of how you're managing your operations, financing, and so on. Our state funding, our revenue we get from the state is based on how we respond to that, and I'm sure that this town does quite well. Most towns do. Most towns are very compliant with best practices, and I don't expect anything but getting 100% of our tax revenue, state tax revenue. Again, I would just like to reiterate, I was informed by Al, thank you, and also Dave, DMK. He went in there and he did take out all the trees. I might add under permit by rule. He was not able to go into the river, so he had to access these from established access points. Okay, so he did that very carefully and quickly, expediently, efficiently. So he's now processing that debris, which we will now deposit. We have a shared services agreement for debris deposit. And I think that is about it. We're just working on, again, you're gonna have a finance meeting, we're gonna start working on our capital projects. That includes, I know a lot of residents are concerned about their surfacing of the road. We look at that every year, we're gonna look at that, we're gonna look at how we're gonna spend the emergency relief money, as well as looking toward using some of our dollars to do some capital projects and not so much, do more of a balance of our cash along with, what we need to go out and bond for.
Okay, good. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Could I have a motion to open the meeting for public comment?
So moved.
Council President Polidori, Councilman Devine, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Jeff Connon, 1088 Ringwood Ave. I left town about 20 minutes after the power went out on Saturday. I drove up to West Milford. And what I noticed was I had never seen this before, were generators running the traffic lights. Who does that? Do we do that or?
The county supplies
County does
certain
that?
areas, and go ahead, Al, if you want
We
to.
do our own.
We do our own. I was about to say, we do our own.
We were one of the first towns to do it.
I thought that was great. I didn't know when that started, but.
We've been doing it in town on ours for a
I
while.
expected to drive up there and have,
How long?
traffic jam.
Yeah, at least 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years maybe we've been doing it. But it's a great idea. I mean, it stops a lot of accidents.
It was great.
Yeah.
The other thing is, the car show was great. The chamber puts that on, right?
The chamber puts it on, yes.
Yeah, that was great.
The chamber and the bid are kind of one, but the chamber kind of starts it.
I was awed by the Corvette, that mid-engine Corvette that Randy's brother had out there.
Did he?
That was an awesome Corvette. Talk about Corvette. Somebody mentioned them earlier.
I love them.
Almost bought one years ago, but I thought better of it. I'd be
Do it.
Anyway, a lot of those cars broke my heart because I had a lot of those cars. Paid $1,200 for that, $1,400 for that one, and it's unbelievable. Great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Good evening. I'm Rich Greenberg from Washington Avenue. A question for the administrator, if you please. You mentioned trees being removed, and it's been a few months since I've been on the Ramapo on my kayak or rowboat. Did I understand correctly that trees that are actually in the river were not being removed, only those that were accessible from common points?
He pretty much was able to remove the trees out of the rivers, out of the Wanacue and Paquonic rivers. So he was able to access them through established access points, because the DEP doesn't like us to go in and destroy the riparian zone or take down any vegetation. He was able to achieve that, to take the trees out without having to, access, well, he wasn't permitted by rule. So he was able to successfully do that. So there are, to my knowledge, I believe all the trees we had marked are gone.
Well, there are some trees still in the water itself that we maybe didn't get to.
Like there are shoals, there are still shoals there. We can't de-shoal without a permit.
Which we are applying for again.
Specifically, I haven't been on the other two rivers that you specifically mentioned, but I have been on the Ramapo quite a few times over the last several years. I've addressed the council in the past on the same subject. And again, I haven't looked in the last 2 months, so I can't speak to today, but I have seen in the past a lot of trees in the water near the water treatment plant. There are at least 2 that I knew about. There's one underneath the Dawes Highway Bridge. There are a few just outside of Stiles Park. Again, I don't know if those have been addressed, but I've certainly seen them in the past. And at the very bottom, the southern end of Pompton, again, along the Ramapo, a lot of trees in the past I've seen.
So I think I can help you address that. So the Flood Advisory Board goes out and identifies all the trees in the river by walking the whole river. Is that correct, Maria?
Yes.
And then they put it on a map.
We do drones.
And drones, and then they put it on a map and they give it to Dave, who does DMK, who does it for us. So anything he can get from what they identify, he will go get.
Okay, so contrary to what you just said, then it's also the Ramapo River. Is that correct?
This last time or all the time? No,
Just in general,
this
has
last time it
Ramapo
was,
been
he did
addressed?
do he did do the Ramapo, yes. He did do the Ramapo.
Maybe he did do the Ramapo.
There was the Ramapo, yes.
Well, I'm overdue for a kayak ride, so.
Take one and take a look.
Fishing rod and kayak will go out hopefully in the next week or so. And I will I'll make a report to Professor Begg over there, who's my buddy.
Okay. In that case, then, yes.
Yes. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please step up.
Good evening, everyone. Al Evangelist, Emergency Management. Rich, just so there's no misconception by the public, okay, we have a very aggressive and talented flood advisory board. I've said that for years. Every year, we do a drone survey of all 3 rivers within our borders, not outside, just within our borders. And what they do is they fly a drone over and they actually mark GPS points on a map. Okay, and then that map is taken for action and it's printed out and it's supplied to Dave from DMK and also for any other purposes that we might need. So I was assured this past week by Dave that all 3 of our rivers have been cleaned within our borders of trees that were falling down in there. Now, as our administrator has already stated, the trees can be accessed from the shore as long as the machines aren't going in the water and disturbing the bottom of the river and so forth. So he can, pull things out from shore by permit, by rule. So that's permissible, and that's what he did. He cuts it all into manageable pieces. It's taken away and carted away as debris. But we've been doing that. This council has been funding that for a number of years, every year, because as you know, you got to clean the gutters every year. You just can't do it once and then 5 years later, because it doesn't work that way. And we've gotten comments from other municipalities on the way the river water runs through our town, okay, and flows without cresting the banks. All right, it'll come up to the banks, in some cases over, but we've seriously reduced the flood damage that has occurred over the years, that we can go back decades, all right, in this borough. So the plan is working. It's well documented. Mr. Donkos does the kayak reporting for us, because as you said, sometimes we can't see things that the drone may or may not see depending on tree cover. Right? We try to get out there in the spring before the leaves, bloom on the trees. Otherwise, the drone is sometimes worthless. So we have a multitude of ways that we, including public calling and saying the tree's down behind my yard, so that we can address it.
To respond in part to that,
Yeah, just no talking between each other.
Yeah, no, just a few years back when I brought it up, the mayor said, you know, you also have to talk to the folks in Wayne, which I did not do. But that was something that you mentioned, that they may not be carrying their share of the burden.
They're not still.
That's it.
Okay, anyone else from the public like to address? Thank you. Please step up.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. You were talking about the progress on the project right here behind the, what's the story on the old Woolworths building, right in the center of town?
We have, our inspectors, our building department has reached out along with our redevelopment professionals to say, look, you got a time frame here. If you don't, we're going to start finding you. So there is some pressure being put on them right now.
Because there's no construction going on there at all.
There will be, but he's taking his time, and we're going to put some pressure on him. And if that means finding, then that will happen.
Because it is an eyesore right in
It
the
is, I
center
agree
of
with you
town.
100%.
I happened to see him after he had a little meeting with redevelopment, and he has plans to build. Although I question whether that's really gonna happen. I think he may sell it off.
Well, either way, he has to fix the problem.
Does he have a bond?
Well, he hasn't done anything yet, so the only thing he's done is demolition. But we have guidelines that he has to follow for demolition. The way those read, though, is if you do, first of all, you have to keep the property clean, which is what we're gonna put some pressure on him for. But if he does a little minor work every once in a while, that can kind of carry you through. So if you use the pharmacy building that's being built on Hamburg Turnpike for the last 3 years, they're not breaking any rules. They just slowly do what they got to do.
Same on Hamburg Turnpike going into Riverdale, the building on the right.
Yes, same thing, yes.
In your discussions, you were talking about RFQs. What does that stand for? We're not,
Request for qualification.
request for qualifications. Okay, so that's with our general contractors that work for the borough?
Anybody who does business with the town.
Any professionals.
Professional services.
Even our attorney?
Yes. And arborist.
Excuse me?
And arborist.
Request for qualifications, okay. I just wanted to say to mention Tim Duffy from our DPW. JCP&L was here doing their line clearance work, and I got them to remove a couple of trees, ash trees that were dead, but they left the stalks, and Tim Duffy was able to address that. DPW took the stalk down and took a few other trees down. There was a split tree in Hirschfield Park. They got to that also. So I just want to thank him for the DPW for doing the tree work that needed to be done. And if there's any possible way to double his salary, then we can maybe possibly do that too. Is that possible?
We will certainly review that.
I'll tell you what, when we double your salary, we'll double his.
Zero to zero? Yeah, okay, good, thank you. What was the Saturday outage? You were talking about it, what happened?
According to there was transmission lines that went down outside of our town, but affected numerous towns, which then blew out recovery boxes in Wanacue and in Riverdale, which they had to reset, and then when they reset them, the surge blew them out again, so they had to send people down again. But it affected, I think they said it was 6,000 people, a bunch of towns. Unexpected, it wasn't prepared. I will stay, and I did put pressure on them again. The Riverdale substation, which we always have problems with, still needs to be addressed and still needs to be looked at. That is one that always causes issues. That one caused issues, and then it made an issue with the one substation in Wanacue, which then threw off another section of town.
Yeah, because my power was out for 2 hours, so I just didn't want the deer meat in the freezer to go bad, so I want to thank JCP&L for addressing that quickly. As what he was talking about, Mr. Greenberg, Ramapo River, there was a big tree right by Stiles Park. Was that removed?
I don't know exactly which trees, but like Al Vangelis mentioned, that we did a survey, so I think any tree that they spotted would be removed.
Right, because that's been there for quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't know though exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Only once.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Councilman Devine, Council President Palladori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approach of the floor, anybody approach of the floor?
Yeah, Mayor, I didn't bring it up in my report, but just want everybody to know, in the Wayne magazine that I get, they mentioned petrifying in Pompton Lakes, and it's one of the residents on Lincoln Avenue that has that wonderful Halloween and Christmas, display of all the, well, in this, they're talking about all the Halloween displays, and it was really a beautiful article written, I think the Leverlino family, and I don't know if I say that tonight. And Leverlino and Ervelino, okay, that's something. But they have pictures of all of his yard, and they mention us, so I just thought, if you get a copy of this magazine, take time to read it. I don't know, it comes in my mail, I get it all the time.
Did you have something?
Yeah.
I'd just like to congratulate Lloyd Kent on his many years of service to the town. The fire department always does a wonderful job. Like they had the program on Monday night. It's excellent. It's an excellent program. The car show was excellent. We had 300 cars there. Many good cars, really wonderful. And of course, we had the opening of the new shop. And
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman, who was it down here? Lanham and Council President Palladori. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Good night.